Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Risa, and I'm going to be comparing two fantastic neutral eyeshadow palettes from two fantastic makeup artists. First, we have Mario Dedivanovic, also known as Makeup by Mario. Many of you might know him through his work with celebrities, namely Kim Kardashian. He's been her makeup artist for, I think, at least 10 years. He's done collaborations with her KK Beauty brand. And then we have Wayne Goss. Wayne is an OG YouTuber. He has put out so many incredibly helpful, informative videos over the years. I know he has likely helped many of you improve your makeup skills. You've decided to buy products based on his recommendations. Both of these men are just incredibly talented and kind humans. I've never had the privilege of meeting either of them in person, but that's just the vibe that they give off. So this video is in no way intended to be putting these two men as people up against each other. Who's more talented? Who's more popular? All I'm doing is giving you a comparison between their products from a consumer perspective. Now, are these the only palettes on the market that you should be debating between? Are there no other really great quality, everyday neutral palettes on the market? Of course there are, but I just had a feeling that some of you might have noticed this new palette by Mario, and maybe you do already own the Wayne Goss palette, or maybe you were considering a new palette for fall, and both of these have been on your radar. I'm just gonna let you know what the differences are and which one I feel is the most practical and user-friendly for the everyday consumer. So let's just start with some basic facts about each palette. The Wayne Goss palette is called the Luxury Eye Palette. It contains 6 eyeshadows with 2.7 grams per pan. As you can see, the pans are quite large. And if you watched Wayne's reveal video, he goes into all of the reasons why he made the pans so large. One of them was obviously because he wanted you to get a lot of bang for your buck. This palette retails for $55. It's not cheap, but Wayne is giving you a lot of product in this palette. He also mentioned that he wanted to make the pans large so that every makeup brush you use can easily fit into the pan, and that you will be able to go into the sides of each pan to get all of the product out. So you won't have that little well of product in the center when you hit pan. Now I'm going to get into the color story and the textures a little bit later, but first let's move on to the basics of the Mario palette. This is called the Master Mattes. This is an all matte palette. However, Mario does have a separate palette of shimmers. It's called the Master Metallics. So Mario decided to separate the mattes from the shimmers. In each of these palettes, there are 12 shades and they are 0.85 grams each. So you are getting far less product per pan in the Mario palette. So the Mario palette is $45, the Wayne Goss is $55. In this footage, I'm applying the Wayne Goss Luxury palette. The shadows are just as Wayne described. They blend seamlessly, they're richly pigmented. They make the skin on my lid look better than it is. I love the ease of use of this palette. It's kind of a no-brainer palette. You can get a simple daytime look with this palette, or you can get a stunning nighttime look. You can use what Wayne calls the celestial shade, as I've shown in this clip, to add a little sparkle for evening or daytime if you're so inclined. I totally agree with Wayne when he talks about having a black eyeshadow in a palette, when he states that a matte black is the most impactful for the eyes. It brings the most attention to the eyes. Even if you just subtly push a little bit of the black into your lash line, your upper lash line, it's gonna make your lashes look fuller. And I just love that he has that in there. And I also love how he mentions that he tested this palette out on mostly women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and stated that if an eyeshadow is going to blend beautifully and look stunning on someone in that age range, it's going to look just as good on someone younger. I cannot say enough good things about the consideration that Wayne had for his consumer. Now, that's not to say that Mario didn't have any concerns or thought about the consumer, but he also states very openly that this is more of a pro line, hence why he has separated the mattes from the metallics. I worked as a makeup artist for many, many years, and I would have loved to have these in my kit for all of the reasons that Mario has stated in different videos he's put up on his product line. I agree that having an all matte basics neutral palette is something that is the cornerstone of a good makeup kit. This Master Mattes eyeshadow palette is also incredibly high quality. Just like with the Wayne Goss, the colors, the shades are richly pigmented. He's mentioned that the top row is meant to be your all over shades, your all over lid shades, and then the next two rows are for defining the crease, smoking out a look, and yes, there is a black eyeshadow in here as well. So I think you're starting to see a trend here. Wayne, Mario, I'm just gonna throw myself in there as well, even though I'm not on their level whatsoever. I did work as a makeup artist for over 20 years, mostly, behind a makeup counter, but I did do freelance work. I had my own boutique. What I'm trying to say is that I think most makeup artists would agree that a black eyeshadow is truly an essential to have in a multi-purpose, practical eyeshadow palette. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't also show you a little footage of me applying these eyeshadows. I am starting off with a shade from the Master Metallics palette, just so you can see the similarity between the two, the Mario and the Wayne palettes. I find the textures to be very similar in that, in my opinion, they're both flattering to more mature skin. My main issue, if you will, with this palette is that there's not a lot of variety of looks that you can do with this palette on its own. I've actually mixed these two browns for the outer corners of my eyes and the transition. I don't know, I just feel like the goal of this palette could have been achieved with half the amount of shades and perhaps a lower price point. I have to say, the matte blacks in both palettes are exceptional. They are two of the darkest, richest matte blacks I've ever worked with. They are perfect for doing a smoky winged eyeliner. As I mentioned earlier, I can completely see how this Master Mattes palette would be something that every makeup artist would want in their kit. But when I started playing with this palette myself and thinking of myself as just a non-makeup artist consumer who bought this at Sephora, got it home, and is now trying to use it, I feel like the shades are a little bit redundant. There are so many browns that are so similar on the eye, and I don't think an individual is going to use and or need them all. I'm hoping that perhaps in the future, Mario will come out with a palette that will allow you to do more looks. Maybe he will include some cooler tones or some plums, just a different variety of mattes versus them being mostly browns, all browns. I want to finish this out by reiterating that I am a huge fan of Mario's. I know he put his heart and soul into this brand, and I know there is going to be a large segment of the market who are going to love having this type of all matte brown palette and a separate palette of stunning shimmers. But my goal with this video was to help you, the viewer, the consumer, who might be sitting at home thinking that you want to maybe splurge on one of these two palettes for the fall. You want to pare down your makeup collection and have what I would call a little black dress of eyeshadow palettes in your collection, and you've heard good things about both of these, and you're just wondering which one would be more practical for me, which one would give me, as I said at the beginning of the video, the most bang for your buck, and I think I've answered that question. I would definitely choose the Wayne Goss. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you as part of the Risa Does Makeup family. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. I do try to upload new videos at least twice per week. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under the same username. It's all Risa Does Makeup. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.